I don't know about that Samaritan with 5 husbands. That's a lot of husbands. Isn't one enough? Got a question to ask of you. And you can share your answer too. So, if you have one thing in your life, one object, I'm talking about an object, I'm not talking about a person. Okay, so if there was one object in your life that you could not live without, what would it be?
Cell phone.
What?
Cell phone.
Cell phone.
Trumpet.
What?
Trumpet.
Trumpet.
Car keys.
Car keys.
And the phone was
Yeah, well, the car must have to go with it. What? Heat? Okay.
And AC in the summer.
Yeah.
The home.
Your home. Okay. Anybody else?
Hot water.
Hot water. Panda bear and brown bear. The church. Oh, even it's not the right answer, but that's okay. Actually, there is, yeah, one more.
No, this sounds silly sitting where I am, but my Bible, because I love to read, and it's one of the first books in my life.
Like daughter, like mother. The Bible. Really, there is no.
Tells me so.
There is nothing that we can, we all have our things. I mean, think about it. How many people wear glasses? What if you didn't have your glasses? You'd probably be in many an accident, right? Anybody asthmatic in here, What about your inhaler? What if you didn't have your inhaler? I mean, that would be a life changer. I mean, there are just so many different things. I think for me, it probably is my smartphone, my iPhone. I don't know what I would do without it. Of course, I knew what I would have done without it before I ever got it, but that's the trick of these technology companies. They make you know you need something. But okay, so with everything you have, all of these important things that you couldn't live without, what if you would just let it go and leave it behind and walk away from it? How easy would that be for you? No. I mean, if it's something that is that important and integral into your own life, the thought of not having it, can you imagine not having your bear? It'd be horrible. Oh, I tear up thinking every time at the mission center when people bring in teddy bears and we can't take them because you're not able to give them out. And it's just like, oh, they have to go to the great teddy bear graveyard in the sky. And my heart just aches for them. So yeah, but no! Without our glasses, without our inhaler, without our home, without heat, without our car, without our car keys, without running water, without all of these things, we can't imagine if it was that important to us to just leave it there. Well, guess what? In today's gospel, we hear of a woman of Samaria. Now, the Samaritans were what I would call the quote-unquote bastard stepchildren. No, it's just a proper phrase of the bastard stepchildren of the Jews. They were the ones who were left behind when all the others were sent out into Babylon to be exiled. And so those who were left behind had to rely on Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That was their scripture. And they worshipped on Mount Gerizim. And they knew that God was their God, the one and only God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But when the Jews came back from exile, they had all this other liturgy and writing that they brought in, and making it very clear that Jerusalem was the place to worship. And so these siblings, these step brothers and sisters, would have nothing to do with each other. It was like a Hatfield trying to talk to a McCoy. So when Jesus meets this woman who is there to gather up water to bring back home. Now, I don't know if Jesus ever met her or not. We know he traveled in the area, but he was going through the area. His disciples weren't pleased that he was going through that area. But when you're thirsty, I mean, imagine being in Israel when it's 110, 120 degrees, the sun is blaring down. If you need water, you need water. And, well, traditionally, the woman would draw the water for the man. So Jesus goes over to this woman who's there in midday. And that's important because women went to the wells in the morning. So she was trying to evade people. Maybe the gossip about her with her 5 husbands and then now with the other dude was a bit much for her. I mean, so not only was she an outcast to the Jews, she was an outcast to the Samaritans themselves. But in their discussion, as Jesus was talking to her and talking about water and life and what happened to the Israelites in the desert, and Jesus offered her a glimpse of a world that she could not possibly imagine. A world that wasn't so much worried about the physical elements of getting water every day and going and, having to get your food, make the meals, although those are important aspects of human life. What Jesus did was to offer her living water. Water that never ever stops flowing. Water that is like an abundant fountain that just keeps on going and through your whole life will fill you with Christ's energy and love. He showed her a glimpse into God's kingdom, a glimpse into unconditional love, a glimpse into full acceptance by everyone. And the woman was so transformed by that experience that she needed to go back and tell her fellow brothers and sisters what she saw. And she left behind the one thing that you would absolutely need to survive, and that's the water jug to hold the water from the well so you could drink and bathe and clean. Now, whether or not it is just an analogy, or whether or not it is actual literally taken, I think the gospel writer put that in that throwaway little few words to remind all of us that those things that we think are necessary for our lives, that we can't live without, that in the big scheme of things, we don't need those. What we need is the living and abundant water that Christ gave to us in our baptism and continues to give us in our daily lives. Think about those things that you think you cannot live without today. What if you would leave it behind? What if you would intentionally go out and seek, as we are here today, the living water of Jesus, who washes us clean, who fills us with life, and who carries us into our Father's loving arms. Let's leave behind the stuff that we don't need. Resting assured that in the prayer that Christ taught us, that God will give us today our daily bread. And then to go forth and to not let that fountain stop with you, but to spread it. Spread it to your neighbor, to your child, to your co-worker, to anyone you come across, that they, like you, like me, like the Samaritan woman, might truly live in the abundant living water of Christ.